Hello, dear friends. It used to be difficult to believe in what you couldn't see. Now it's hard to believe what is seen, because it is too much. Opinion piece. Unbelievable. Disturbing change. New spirituality. There is a lot of confusion. People are getting fed up. Risk of social uprisings. Could Italy be the next Sri Lanka? Italy and Germany could break away from the European Union. Queue of countries to join the BRICS. QFS is working in beta version. It would only work in secondary banking. Beta software version is provisional. Swiss central bank moves its gold. Creative thinking is imagination. Winning without fighting is the height of skill. 10 countries to run EBS transmission system. The world faces a process of de-globalisation. Saudi Arabia will not increase oil production. Let's start. Another week of madness in the battle of good versus evil. I'm sure there are things we cannot understand, but still honesty, loyalty and truth go a long way. There are many unanswered questions. Those who refuse to wake up will not wake up, face it. We are in the last days before relief comes, and we have one last hurdle to overcome. Winds of change. Even the best planning cannot always account for the winds of change. Needs change, and we must be flexible, which is as important as having a plan in the first place. The art of war. Let your enemy destroy himself. To win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the pinnacle of skill. To undermine the enemy without fighting is the height of skill. Paradigm shift. Disturbing shift by Cryon through Lee Carroll. The old energy spirituality actually wants to retain the old structure and feels uncomfortable and threatened with the coming changes. It struggles to retain old concepts that the spirituality must have punishment as part of its core, that evil must exist to balance love, that humans are worthless and must find a higher source to worship, thus giving them strength, and thus that spiritual truth requires a hierarchy of organized men and women, buildings, text, and a long lineage of do's and don'ts to live by. The spirituality of the new energy is in fact very different. It begins by declaring that we are God. It tells us that the only structure we need is within, and that everything is there to be found. It speaks of a plan in which a fear-based existence based on ultimate punishment is replaced by an awakening to self-responsibility, a responsibility that enhances wisdom and creates morality from within. Replacing fear of punishment is the joy of creating divine purpose. This new energy philosophy also creates self-esteem and joy-filled existence. It is self-regulating without all the trappings of organization, buildings, rules or priests. It honors the God within and affirms that the very essence of God is available there. All the do's and don'ts, and that is all the spiritual strength is within. It gives every humankind the spiritual potential of a priest, but the new spirituality requires labor and discipline like the old spirituality to get results. Confusion. Puffiness said by Steve Biko. The mass confusion that reigns all over the planet has nothing against any of you. In fact, it is a mystery and a terrible condition to have to live with for days on end. There is not much that can be done about it, because the changing times are dictating much of this. The committee involved in helping to bring all this to a head is very busy. Just relax and let that part be. We see the changes that are coming and the mandates you will face. We see the pain of people's faces and the wonder in their eyes for not knowing what is happening. Massive new pieces are emerging. However, they have a little to do with this project. However, they appear to be directly related. The muscle men are not working as hard as they would like, so they have been told to back off and allow us to move this team of mules forward. We are doing it here and now. We continue to validate the valiant efforts of all who have held the light to support the changes and returns that are coming. Good things come to those who wait, and who you have certainly done much of that. We earn it, and we see the final outcome coming soon within the time frame. The Center of the Storm. The Eye of the Hurricane by Steve Biko. A hurricane revolves around its center, while all is chaos at the periphery. At the center, all is stillness and calm. There are many storms going on right now. Friends or family are separating over issues of divide and rule. Organizations are benefiting or suffering from all this disruption. Governments are divided. An all-world order wishes to wipe us all out through universal surveillance. I'll repeat the phrase. An all-world order wishes to wipe us all out through universal surveillance and control over all aspects of life. Opposing them is a coalition that wishes to redistribute the wealth of the planet, unleash the free energy of Tesla, replicators, and many other devices, and restore to the people of the planet to the equal enjoyment of life's opportunities and rewards. Wherever the center of this mass formation is, we are likely to find tranquility there. That applies wherever there is a concentration of executive functions. Where the center is, there we find calm. The safe haven is in the heart center. When the wind starts to blow, we can use the imagination to find the center again. One can contact bliss in the eye of the storm, because it wouldn't be easy to contact happiness if we were in the midst of the fury. I offer this eye of the storm as another vantage point to find safe harbor for us as light workers. In the higher dimensions, what we call imagination, they call creative thinking, or luminous epinoia. Final phase. We are in the final phase of the shift according to Aurora Ray. The dark forces have done everything possible to prevent this event from happening, even though they knew it was unavoidable from day one to their plans. Now that their plan has failed, they need a way out, and they are doing everything they can to hold on to power and drag as many souls as they can with them into lower dimensions. Soon there will come a time when humankind will live together in harmony with each other and with all life on our beautiful planet. Our physical body will become a body of light, and we will be able to travel anywhere in the universe at the mere thought of it. You are in the midst of a great spiritual awakening. You are here to help raise consciousness on Earth and prepare for your ascension into the fifth dimension. You must remember that you are an infinite being who chooses to take physical form to experience this planet at its current level of density. You choose to be here during these times because you knew you could make great shifts in consciousness and assist humankind with their awakening process. Reset news. People everywhere are getting fed up. Elites continue to resign from political office around the world, while the global financial market continues to free fall. Global central banks embrace interest rate hikes. 10 countries will run EBS emergency broadcast system to cover the whole world. According to Benjamin Fulford, there was a coordinated mafia taken down around the world last week, just as G20 officials met to discuss replacing the United Nations Security Council with a new global grouping. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's crisis would be a warning to other Asian nations. Sri Lanka could be the beginning. Sri Lanka's debt crisis is a warning to the world. The World Bank says a global debt storm is brewing. It could engulf 70 developing countries and cause their economies to fall like dominoes. Would it really be the next Sri Lanka? Bill Gates' factory in the Netherlands, which produces lab-grown synthetic meat, burns down. Who is behind a series of mysterious explosions at gas facilities in the US? Canadians support Dutch farmers. Chemical makers, not farmers, should pay for pollution caused by nitrogen fertilizers. Dutch farmers call on the world's farmers to demonstrate. Farmers from Spain, Italy, and Poland have joined Dutch farmers in protesting green government regulations that will decimate the industry by forcing them to reduce their use of nitrogen fertilizer compounds. Who is in control? Soros is gone, and his estate is divided among his children. It is a tie between Gates and Schwab. They manipulated the price of silver for 14 years. The criminal trial of 2 J.P. Morgan silver traders should get the attention of everyone who invests in commodities and derivatives. It is showing the guts and the how to manipulate markets. Many people have been shouting at regulators to stop the manipulation, but they did nothing. Waiting. According to Scott Mowry, we are only waiting for a couple of things. First is the fall of Bitcoin, which the click depends on to survive, and the announcement of the Republic. Now this has been done in terms of a soft announcement, but it has to be official and public. Turkey, Egypt and Saudi Arabia may join to the BRICS forum very soon. Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, Italy and Germany are considering joining the BRICS. The exchange of affiliation could lead to the total collapse of the European Union and the Euro. Christine Lagarde said that 21st July will change banking and international agreements. Something big is going to happen, and this banking system is about to be turned upside down. India, China, and South Africa are implementing a new economic policy to introduce a new world reserve currency. More than 2 billion citizens have just joined the gold-backed system established in China, Russia, and India. Russia is running the QFS in beta version on gold and silver coins. Belarus, Brazil, Argentina, Pakistan, India, and over 100 other countries are testing the new QFS in secondary banking, not primary banking. A beta version is a new version of a software program that has not yet been fully tested for bugs. Once it is tested to the satisfaction of the author, owner or organization, it is released as the latest stable version of the software. Saudi Arabia. According to Wolverine, If Saudi Arabia's crown prince Mohammed bin Salman were to participate in the BRICS, it would be the end of the petrodollar. 2/3 of the world's population would be able to buy energy in their own currency. Oil prices rise to over $100 a barrel after Biden fails to deliver on Saudi promise to pump more oil. Biden tried to shake hands in the air during his trip to Israel. After Biden's trip to Saudi Arabia, the mainstream media is trying to spin the story to make it look like there was a great success in the negotiation, but in reality, the Saudis sent him home empty-handed. With Saudi Arabia's participation, 2/3 of the world's population will be able to buy oil in their own currency. If the war scenarios of recent decades threats of plots no longer work. In addition, the Fed can no longer print, so we can see that the stock market is constantly falling. Therefore, it is almost impossible to invest infinite money and restore it artificially. Globalists are frightened by Trump's good relationship with BRICS leaders. System change. On Christmas Eve 1963, 77 generals gathered and the plan to save the world was born. At 8:39 p.m. on July 16, 1999, a team of white hats drove JFK Jr.'s plane on autopilot into the twilight and crashed it into the Atlantic Ocean off Martha's Vineyard. JFK Jr., his wife Caroline, and his sister Lauren were left free to work on the plan. Banker says world faces de-globalisation. The founder and chief executive of investment bank Moelis & Company warned that rising prices of essential goods in some countries could lead to social uprisings. Zimbabwe is introducing gold coins into its economy, which can be used as cash locally and internationally. Blockchain company executes Russia's first digital asset deal with Palladium. Wells Fargo and Indus Payments have been merging for some time. The Indus Payments platform is backed by assets in QFS. It is becoming increasingly clear that an international gold-backed banking system is emerging. The implementation of this financial system is closer than you think. It would be the restart that changes everything. This is a week of several transitions about to occur in the markets and in the banking system. Switzerland. The first farmers to point out the most wanted globalists are not the Dutch, but the Swiss. These wanted persons have caused problems in Sri Lanka, the Netherlands, and many other nations. The Swiss central bank quietly moves its gold deep into the Swiss mountains. The Swiss central bank moved its gold from Bern to a federal bunker in Kandersteg. In Switzerland, it is a state secret where the central bank stores its gold nationally. Europe. Europe faces a heat wave. Europe is trying to tame the fiery beast engulfing the continent. UK and France on red alert for extreme heat. More evacuated by the fires in Bordeaux, which have burnt 11,400 hectares. England goes on red alert for a heat wave that could exceed 40 degrees Celsius. Severe delays on London Underground and trains in London due to heat wave. Flights from the UK's largest air base are suspended because of runway melting due to extreme heat. The British opposition fails to pass a motion of censure against Boris Johnson's government. Germany fills its tanks and calls for savings to face the winter without Russian gas. German Interior Minister Nancy Faeser warns of protests against rising energy prices. Algeria guarantees additional gas to Italy in the midst of a political crisis. Erdogan says Sweden doesn't look good for NATO membership. Spain. The Spanish stock market rises 0.22%, the least bullish of the European markets. The Eurozone is not at its best, but travelers are making the most of it. Everything seems to indicate that US citizens are being attracted to European countries. Trips to Spain are in high demand because it is cheap for them to visit, buy food, pay for hotels or excursions in dollars. Amnesty International denounces the continued operation of spyware such as Pegasus. An ancient Roman imperial city is discovered in Artieda, in the southern Spanish Pyrenees. 360,000 people and 90,500 vehicles crossed the Melilla border in 2 months. Several fires in northern Morocco burned 5,900 hectares. Desolating video in the Sierra de Mijas, Malaga. Neighbors fighting the fire hoe in hand due to the precariousness of the services. USA. San Francisco airport evacuated. Virginia governor declares state of emergency. Container shipping rates continue to fall. What will be the new normal? Americas. Mexican Navy helicopter in Sinaloa. A dozen Colombia military personnel admit to murdering 127 people to present them as false positives. Indigenous Colombians ask the Special Jurisdiction for Peace to consider all false positives among their villages. The unions break the agreement reached with the government in Panama that lifted the road closures. They announced that they will continue with protests throughout the country. Ecuador's Sangay volcano generates 720 explosions in 1 day. Peru extends the state of emergency in the agricultural sector. Peru is facing a crisis that puts the aeronautical and tourism sector at imminent risk. The situation has to do with the closure of ports due to the presence of abnormal swells on the coast of the country. Illegal miners attacked the headquarters of an indigenous organization in the Peruvian Amazon and detained some of its leaders. Peru approves increasing the capacity of Machu Picchu to 4,044 visitors per day. Bachelet arrives in Lima to assess the human rights situation in Peru. The dollar opens in Chile below 1,000 pesos after central bank intervention. Deforestation in Brazil grew by 20% in 2021, and the Amazon was the most affected. China. Evergrande suppliers publish an explosive joint letter. Hong Kong stock market index falls on 6 Chinese property developers. In China, a major financial crisis is unfolding. Chinese citizens in 86 cities are boycotting home mortgage payments. Chinese censors are deleting documents about this boycott. The Dutch central bank fines Binance €3.3 million. Russia. The European Union will sanction Russia gold imports in the new package it is preparing. Russia is betting on friendly currencies to diversify its foreign currency savings, increasing purchases of the pound sterling, Swiss franc and Japanese yen, while shifting away from dollars and euros. Putin and Erdogan to discuss Ukrainian grain exports in Tehran. Rumors of war. Moscow prioritizes the destruction of long-range weapons used by Kiev to attack civilians. Ukraine accuses major world banks, including JP Morgan Chase, HSBC, Citigroup and Credit Agricole, of financing companies transporting Russian oil. European foreign ministers meet to discuss the situation in Ukraine. Tourism shuns in Lithuania over dispute with Moscow. Armenia's real estate market booms due to war exodus. Zelensky dismisses his prosecutor general and the head of the security service. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.